So guys, you're going to see the winner of the last drawing on the screen here we had. So don't forget to comment, because we hope that would be you, to get a chance to spend that wonderful time on the phone with me for 15, 30, maybe 45 minutes talking about your real estate transaction, how I can be beneficial to consult with you along the way with whatever you got going on. So this video is going to be about stepping up and taking action. Hope you find it instrumental. If you do, take a minute and like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to comment below on any questions that you might have along the way. And remember, we're going to be having a drawing on those comments coming up as well for that phone call with me to go over your real estate transaction and how I might be able to help guide you through it. So guys, I just wanted to take a minute and talk about taking action. And just stepping up to the plate, to use a baseball term, as we say. You know, you got to get to the plate in order to hit the ball, as opposed to just kind of sitting back in the dugout doing nothing sometimes. And so often I see in the investment community investors who want everybody else to do their job for them. Whether it's in the acquisition side of the equation, the sales side, the rehab side, the financing side. It's always delegate, delegate, delegate. And, you know, let me go out and play the game and do what I want to do while I kind of sit up above in my ivory tower, pulling the strings on everything below. And I get that. There's a time and place for those kind of things. If you, as the investor, are in a position to do that, and you actually have a knowledge base of how to do that, and you have people below you who can actually do those kind of things. Because what I find in this industry is that 98% of the people, they don't have it. I know they all want it, but unfortunately, it just doesn't exist. No, learning how to do things yourself is so important. And one of the first things, of course, about the real estate investment industry is to get a good working knowledge of the playing field of what you're doing. You know, what does my acquisition look like? If I'm going to sub out my acquisitions to third parties, what is their advertising mechanism? Am I dictating that, or am I letting them dictate that? Because either you will find somebody that you can dictate to what you want to do, or they're going to do what they want to do, which might be contra to where you want to be with what you're marketing towards. Also, you may want to pay a lot more money for somebody to do the marketing for you instead of doing it yourself. And again, there's a time and place for everything. And just a simple example about that is oftentimes we investors can work with the wholesaling industry and buying a profit. The question is going to be is, what is that reasonable fee you're paying for that lead when you get a chance to buy that property? Is it a few $1,000s, or is it tens of thousands of dollars? Okay, now you got to figure out what's worth it, because you could spend a lot more money out there in that wholesale industry sometimes than what you would be paying for traditional, typical marketing along the way. But to work with people in that area of our industry, you've got to have a basic knowledge of how all that's going to work. You know, how does the wholesale industry work? How does the marketing side work? What are all my options? So that when you do delegate down to somebody else, you're able to properly tell them what it is you want to do, especially with these VAs. I'm sure a lot of you guys get phone calls from VAs. I get these calls all the time. And I'll tell you right here and now, half of them can't speak English, unfortunately, and I can't even understand them. They're calling me on leads that are 5 years old, and they can't explain anything, and the script that they're trying to follow is so ridiculous, it really just kind of ticks me off to a point, because they won't tell me who they work with, who they represent, what they're trying to do or buy, or anything along the way. And for someone like myself, I don't like that. Now, I get that the common homeowner might not have the same kind of questions or concerns, but if they call the wrong people, sometimes it does. And you want them to have that knowledge, because if I have those questions, you want your VAs to have answers, those things along the way too. So helping them along the way with a good quality script to understand those kind of things where you can then delegate that responsibility, I think is what is so important along the way. But the basic of all of this is knowing what it is you need to know. For instance, in the sales side of our game, Are you going to wholesale a property? Are you going to do a fix and flip? Well, what are your options if you're going to do a fix and flip? Are you going to be utilizing MLS, multiple listing? Are you going to be using a discount realtor or a discount brokerage where they'll simply put it in MLS for you for a flat fee? But what does that look like? How do you word things so that you can properly get that across? If you hand that off to a third party who doesn't know, it's going to take them a lot of time to get proficient at that. So really what I see is that we as the investor need to be proficient to start off with. So when we hand off of that third party, they likewise are just as proficient on the marketing. Am I going to run my Facebook ads? Am I doing bandit signs? What should that sign say? Who's putting things out? How do I track it? How do I know they're going out? How do I know what it is they're saying along the way? Have you ever taken the time to think about calling your own people from maybe a different phone number so they don't know it's you per se, and cold calling them? See how they do, whether it's on the acquisition side or the sales side, and help to create that scenario that you are able to dictate the course of action, not letting others dictate it for you. And finally, along the way, with our game, if you're in the rehab business, you've got to know construction so that you can talk to your contractors sufficiently. You have to learn the lingo. And again, I understand if you're new to the business, it all takes time. You have to learn materials and what you're talking about. You need to know pricing. And I get chuckled at all the time because people laugh at me because I go and I will walk up and down the aisles at Lowe's and Home Depots and Floor & Decor and other of the larger hardware stores and whatnot that we go to in our industry, because I need a feel for what's going on. I want to see what's out there. Is there something new? Not new. Just things that you really want to get a grasp of and do your best to learn. And the problem with all that is it takes time. And again, time is money in our business, which I certainly understand, but you've got to get to this position where you have a certain knowledge base that allows you to hand off to others. Now, one thing I have seen that didn't used to exist into the real estate investment industry is this insertion of the TC into the equation, the transactional coordinator. I go back several years ago, and in the traditional realtor world, they did use some transactional coordinators and whatnot to help them out. They're basically assistants who help put deals together and navigate a transaction once a contract has been executed. Fast forward to today, and we're seeing this huge influx of TCs into the industry. And unfortunately, they don't know what they don't know. They try hard, they intend to do well, and if they're good enough to have done a lot of deals, they're learning along the way. And whenever I get a chance to talk to them, I try to help give them tidbits and advice that will be advantageous for them going forward, whether they're buying a subject to transaction, working with a seller direct, whether it's the back-end sale transaction, wherever it might be, and helping give them advice and understanding so they get it. The problem is most investors know the same amount or less than their TCs know sometime. And you want to know more. You know, I go back in my day with the old saying of fake it until you make it. Because guys, when I got started in this business, I didn't know up from down, and I just started to hang out with the mortgage people. I hung out with some title people. I hung out with the realtor people, and I'm just always listening. I'm asking questions. I'm learning things. I'm looking at contracts. I'm looking at disclosures. I'm looking at whatever it might be they have out there, and I'm learning the lingo. I'm learning the basics, and then I'm asking questions. Otherwise, you'll never learn this business to get out there and make these things happen. And so if you have the opportunity to do those kind of things, do it. Hook up with the right people. Learn the language so that when you are talking to your transactional coordinator, and maybe this is one that works for you exclusively, maybe this is one that you're employing for some type of a transaction, you want to make sure you tell them what it is you want to do, how you want to do it. You want to know what they're going to do for you so you know whether it's right, wrong, or not, and help navigate the process. Remember, these transactions are yours. It's not theirs, it's not somebody else's, it's yours. And I simply find way too many investors who want to hand off everything to everybody else because they want to stay up here in the ivory tower and they don't want to get down in the dirt and the sandbox and get their hands dirty. And sometimes in the investment world, you just got to do it. You know, if you want to make things happen, get involved and get it done. You know, even in my businesses today, whether it's sometimes in the legal side of my business or the title side, the acquisitions, the sales, I've handed off to people who I know are competent, but there are hiccups, things are happening. And I want people to make decisions quickly and move on because time is money. If a house isn't selling, why? What's the feedback? Why? What adjustments are being made in the equations of the sale of the property based upon what the marketplace is telling you? The same thing with acquisitions. If we're making offers over and over and over again, why aren't they happening? Am I too high, too low? I mean, where is this thing? What's going on? You want to be able to be proactive and get it done whenever you get that chance to do it. It helps to accelerate the process and get to the finish line. And that is the ultimate goal of what we want to do, is get to the finish line. So we either buy that property, sell that property, get that property income producing through a rental scenario, whatever it might be. And all of these things weld into the overall picture together. So guys, learning how to take action, learning how to step up to the plate and make things happen is so important. And having the willingness to get down in the trenches with everybody else and make it happen, let me tell you what, the people who work for you and with you will appreciate that along the way. And they will see that you're willing to do those kind of things. One of the rules I have in my offices is I don't give anybody a task to do that I don't know how to do it myself. If I haven't learned how to do it, I can't expect you to do it because I can't navigate it. And I get it that there are things that you hire that you can't do, and that might be the case in many situations. But when I'm doing that, I am learning what they're doing so I can work side by side with them and get down there. And sometimes you'll find that in our business, as I said, you just got to get in the trenches and get your hands dirty to make things happen. And when you put all those things together, I think you're going to find you can put together a great team and you can be very proficient at our trade and get out there and make things happen. And don't ever forget, doing it yourself sometimes is a huge plus because the bottom line is you know it got done. So guys, I hope you found this to be helpful along the way. If you did, take a minute and like the video. Don't forget to take a moment and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And of course, take the time to make any comments below. We're going to have a drawing also on the comments through our videos out there for someone to spend that 15, 30 minutes, maybe longer on the phone with me to talk about their real estate transaction situation, what it might be. So please take the time and comment. And we'll see you guys next time.